Welcome to Martini Time. I didn't mess up today like I did last night, and today's for Easter, so I don't have a Easter bunny martini glass. I've got a frog, so I'm going to ask the frog to dive into the pond of the unconscious, like in The Princess and the Frog, and come up with a golden ball of wisdom. That's the way I work. So we're asking the frog to jump into the unconscious and come up with a treasure, okay? And the treasure we've been, see my hair? The treasure we've been coming up with this Easter is a new way of understanding the crucifixion and the resurrection, which is the whole crux, the whole foundation of Christianity. It's on that one event. The whole thing. It's all there. That's it. It's not on Jesus and Joseph and the virgin birth and all of that. It's that one dramatic event of the crucifixion and the resurrection. So we're trying to see how to, at least I am, is trying to find a view and an understanding which will liberate me from the crucifixion of my own mind. That is the suffering of negativity, the suffering of worry, the suffering of anxiety, the suffering of jealousy and envy, and fear, and anger, all of that suffering. I want to be free from that. I want to be resurrected from that. That's the salvation I want. I don't want to go to heaven after I'm dead. I don't know. May not be there. May be boring. I don't know. That's putting it off. That's, oh well, I'll just endure. This life too will pass, and then I'll get to a better place. I don't want to live like that. This place is to be endured. This place is where you're going to learn. This place is where you're punished. This place is where you let Jesus do it. You see? So you can get to heaven after you die. What kind of sense is that, you see? So Jesus paid for my sins so I could get to heaven, but now I suffer. Something's not right. So let's look at what's going on. Now, if you look at the crucifixion and the resurrection, there's a space between them, right? And there's a means to the end, like here's the problem of suffering, and here's the end. Release from suffering. Of course, in the story of Jesus, you see, he's released and he goes up to God, you see. But then we say, well, we can't do that because Jesus did that. But if you say you're Jesus, well, we're going to put you away. The greatest heresy in Christianity is to say what Jesus said. When he said, I and the Father are one, why, if you say that, you're nuts. You can't say that. Who do you think you are, Jesus? We just can't contemplate that, because it doesn't make sense in the frame that the way we view reality. You see, we view everything in reality in time. In the West, we see, not other cultures don't do this. Buddhism doesn't do this. But we see everything as a problem. And the crucifixion is, here's a problem. I'm hanging from a cross. And I want to get to the solution. How long does it take? 3 days. Or you got the anxiety, so you go to a yoga teacher. I want to get to the end of anxiety. How long will it take? Well, you do this yoga for about 5 months and you'll be free. Or you got any kind of problem, you go to the expert and say, well, how long will it take for me to, what do I have to do? How long will it take? And they'll say, well, you do this and it'll take maybe this much time. And you say, okay, I'll do that. And then you do it. And there'll be maybe temporary relief. But the suffering comes back. When you buy a new car, there's temporary relief. But then the new car is now your old car, and you want something else. So there's no end to the crucifixion and resurrection, you see. It's kind of like built into our consumer culture. Our consumer economics is basically having a crucifixion. Oh, you got a problem, you need some drugs. You got a problem, you need a new house. You got a problem, you need these new clothes. And recently, I just wrote a piece on this. This DNA ancestry advertisement is selling salvation. You got a problem, you don't know who you are. You get this DNA kit and you'll know who you are, and you'll be at peace with yourself for the rest of your life because you'll know who you are. But I did it. And I got a map with some dots on it. And that was interesting. But it didn't solve the question of who I am because I'm not on a map. I'm not dots on a map. I'm not DNA. I'm not genes. I'm not DNA. You see, that's a chemical. So, what we're trying to get at here, if I can get back around to it, is that the problem with the resurrection, which is a metaphor for salvation, is that there's time. You got to get to it. It took Jesus 3 days to get to the resurrection from the crucifixion, from the problem to the solution, separated by time. But you see, this whole way of viewing it is on the horizontal beam. It's time. You see, here's the beam stretched out. I watched a squirrel on my walk today run along a telephone cable from one pole to the other. So he had to get it. There was one pole, and he had to get to that pole, and he had to run along that narrow thing. Almost fell off. You see. So everything in our culture is played out in time. I got a problem. I got a pain. I got a hurt. Somebody did something to me. I got to do something to get rid of that pain. What do I do to get rid of it? Boom. How long? How cost? People will sell me the means to get to the end of my pain. But it's always temporary. It never lasts, you see. It's a temporary fix. It's like a drug. It's like heroin. You want that heroin and you believe, and I'm not a hurricane at it, but cigarettes, all right? You've got that cigarette. If I could just have that cigarette, I'll never desire cigarettes again. How long does that last, you see? So so anyway, we're looking at this problem, and it's the same way with so what does religion do? I'm not faulting religion. I'm just trying to look at it from a different viewpoint. There's nothing wrong with it the way it is. So, but what we're looking at here is that religion says, well then, first of all, the church. So anyway, how much time have I got already? So anyway, the religion says, well, if you want to get to salvation and the resurrection and freedom from suffering, you got to follow Jesus. And so where do you find Jesus? Well, he's in the church. The church is the body of Christ. So you got to join the church. So you join the church. So you can follow Jesus to get to the end of the crucifixion, to get off the cross, to get off the pain of my life, to get off the sorrow, to get off the grief. I get to it. So what do I have to do? Well, I got to get on the church, you see. And then the church says, well, if you have a problem, you just need to apply a little more Jesus. Your faith is a little weak. Got to do more Jesus. It's kind of like Robitussin. So anyway, but then the final solution, of course, is death. So you just be patient. You'll get there. You'll get to the final solution. And then you'll sit with Jesus on the right hand of God, having been good, you see. So all this is played out in time. Now my practice, which is kind of a mix of Buddhism, yoga, Zen, and Christianity, but the mystic Christianity. So if you read the teachings of Jesus, from a mystical point of view. Now, a mystical point of view is a timeless point of view. And timeless, or the simple point of view. And the simple is one. That's as simple as you can get. One. So when you approach life as being simple, you approach life as being one. But when we approach life in time, we approach it as being two. I'm here and I want to get there. I got pain here and I got to get there, like the squirrel on the wire, you see. Then I'll get the nuts, you see. So that's two. But one means I'm there. We do this all the time. You got a problem? I got a problem. And suddenly you get an insight, a little Zen satori. It's so simple. There it is. And you realize that the answer was always there. It was the two. I am one. I got a problem. That's two. It's that belief in two that creates the tension of the problem. And I want to get rid of this tension, because tension is pain. I want to get to the end of I want to get to that cigarette. I want to get to the donut. I want to get to the solution, because this tension is stretching me out like a rubber band. And the more it's there, the stronger the tension, you see. And if I don't find a solution to that self-generating tension, there's going to be violence. I'm going to shoot the problem. I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. I'm going to get cancer. I'm going to shoot the other person. I'm going to shoot myself. I got to do some violence is going to erupt, because the tension can't go on forever. There is a tipping point to tension. A system can only handle so much tension before it blows up. Stick a microphone in front of an amplifier and see how far you can go before you blow either your ears or the amplifier. But that is not an infinite, that is not a sustainable tension. Now there's only two ways out of that tension. Either violence or simplicity. Simplicity is creativity. Creativity is conceiving of the single idea that holds the problem and the solution as one. The single idea that holds the crucifixion and the resurrection as one. It's so simple. I couldn't see it before. And when that single idea that holds the two as one pops into you, you can't make it happen, pops into you, snaps into you, you dance, you're joyous, you're liberated, you're resurrected, you see. In life, not after death, you see. So we're looking at a very practical, everyday mind here, in a way to apply these universal principles of Christianity to your everyday life, so it opens you up like a screwdriver. So it makes you work. Instead of locking you up in a box of time, waiting for the resurrection when you die. You see, we're looking for now. So the view from now is that everything is one. There is no separation of the means and the end when you look at everything from the simplicity of one. Now, the simplicity of one is who you are. We're all very simple people. Simple means one. Now, so when I start this talk, I didn't do it today, but I will usually start the talk by saying, here, Blackstone is the center of the world. But then you too are at the center of the world. So that means that, metaphorically, Blackstone is the world. Not Blackstone and the world. Blackstone is the world, and the world is Blackstone. People that grow up here feel that. But then we take it further and say, you are the world, and the world is you. So, that brings it down to I am one with the world, and the world is one with me. There's not two, there's one. So I have no problem with the world. I have no argument with the world, because I am the world and the world is me. And yet, there is two. You and I are separate. This iPad I'm looking at is two. I'm not the iPad. But from the viewpoint of one, I am the iPad and the iPad is me. So this is being able to hold, you see, the resurrection, the liberation is being able to hold the two as one. So I hold the crucifixion and the resurrection and the tension between the two. I am okay with that tension. I am okay with not knowing. I am okay with the unknown. I'm okay with the uncertainty. I'm okay with not having to win the opinion war. I'm okay with everything, which means I have no tension with anything. But at the same time, there is tension. I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to solve problems. So it's being able to hold the tension of the crucifixion and the resurrection. And when you hold the tension and accept that tension, there is an alchemy that happens that transforms the two that you hold, both sides, into one. So you have to hold, it's like a mirror reflecting a mirror. You can't separate them, you see. If you hold the two, here's two. When I hold the two, and I don't throw this out the window, when I hold the two, equal opposites, I hold them, it makes music, you see. So, just like a battery, here's two, positive, negative. The battery holds the tension. It doesn't act on it. It doesn't say, get rid of the negative, I just want positive. Or get rid of the positive, I just want negative. Get rid of the up, I just want down. Get rid of the down, I just want up. Get rid of the bad, I just want good. Get rid of the crucifixion, I just want the resurrection. If we can hold the two as equal opposites without moving, bam, we got energy, we got creativity, we got a new birth, we got a resurrection. So, thanks for dropping in. See you tomorrow.